Okay, so I have with me today Master Cariotis. So good to see you here today, my friend.
Good to be here.
And both celebrating the 60th anniversary of Taekwondo. And looking at the colour of both of our hair, we've been here for most of those 60 years, I think.
We go back a long time.
But what are some of the things, in your time in Taekwondo, well over 30 years, longer than me, that you've considered highlights of the Taekwondo, your experience?
Watching the young kids come up through the ranks, and we've improved, and we're still here with the original Taekwondo, and giving this knowledge to our students, and watching Taekwondo develop in Australia, which I think had a good outcome, especially in the last World Championships, and that's credit to all the instructors with all their hard work.
Now, obviously, you run a very successful school, a USMA, here out of Melbourne, and you've been doing that for a long time, and we often get to see each other at these championships. But of course, you're no stranger yourself to championships, and I remember the first time we met, we were both like these competitors sitting at the back of the ring, nervously awaiting to jump into the ring and try and win a medal or a trophy. And tell us a little bit about your own competing days.
I competed a lot. I did some, of course, ITF tournaments, a lot in the 90s. Went to Adelaide, did a couple of the tournaments that you ran, which were absolutely awesome. I think it was up at Kilo, around that area. I also got involved in some other martial arts, Samiska, a bit of Wacko and things like that. And winning was fun. Losing was a lesson, and laying that information onto our students and beginning from basically the start, their first championship, and watching them move through the ranks and watching them go into Victorian Championships, Australian, and then later on international or the World Championships. That is a great, I think that is one of the most important things. Not too much about me, it's about them, I think.
Now, I'm sure you had similar experience in the way. Sometimes when I talk to my students about some of the training we did all those years ago and how hard it was, and how, in comparison, we treat them with kid gloves sometimes today. But I think, sometimes some of those things in those early days, if we did them with our students today, we might be in jail. But tell us a little bit about, when you started with Taekwondo, who you trained with, who your first instructors were, and what that training was like.
I started in Adelaide years ago. I mean, my major instructor was Frank Griggs. I trained with Chumbong Lee. This is WTF. Then we trained with Ree in Wright Street, with John O'Brien and Vernon Lowe. Then after that I was overseas, so I spent about 10 years in Greece. I trained with some more masters there and some instructors. They're masters today. Coming back to Australia, more Ree with Cariotis. Then after that I thought I'd start USMA. So that's what I did, and these are the instructors. I did a lot of seminars with various instructors as well. I had the privilege to train with the General Choi, the founder of Taekwondo. I think that was the highlight of my life, really, to have that honour. Great Grandmasters, Grandmaster Ree, Grandmaster Pak Chung So. These mean a lot.
So you mentioned USMA, obviously that's your school, and as instructors, we all have a pride and attachment in our school. I don't think anybody's more proud and attached to their school than you are, and I say that as a compliment. But how's the school going? What are your plans for the future? And where are your locations here in Melbourne? If anybody's local or looking for somewhere to train, where can they find you?
We train at our headquarters is Clayton. We've also got a school in Ashburton, and I train a couple of private schools, which is St Andrews and St John's College in Preston. We started everything was pretty hard, but through the years we're developing the school. What we're trying to do is we've created a fight night. We're moving our kids. We've got our black belt training, which is pretty hard, full on for 3 hours or 4 hours, depending on what the expectations are if we're moving into World Championships. I'm very proud of my students. They've worked very hard. Of course, what you said before was how we trained. That's true. How we trained, it's not like today's training. Telling people to train on concrete floors. That's what they had. That's what we did years ago. But that was Taekwondo.
So I think in our day, you'd be told to go down and do push-ups, and we'd say how many. Today we say get down and do push-ups, and they say why. So that pretty much sums up the difference between the student of today and the student of then. But of course, us old dinosaurs and warriors, we stick to our guns and we push the students hard, and you can see those results often reflected on the tournament, particularly the tournament floor. So good to see you here, my friend.
Good.
And we look forward to working together.
Thank you.
And good luck for the future.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good future in Australia. We brought back at the World Championships around 44 medals. Talk about USMA. I've got to give my school a plug. We brought back 21 medals, and we went there as an Australian team, and which is the most important thing. And we showed them when we all unify in Australia, we are a driving force. I believe that at that World Championship, all the countries in the world, especially the major players, turned and looked at us and said, wow, look at these guys from down under.
Well, they're definitely starting to learn our song now.
Absolutely.
And that's a good thing, because we never used to hear that song in the early days. So all the best.
Thank you.
And, thanks for your support today. And all the best for national selections in June. We'll see you again.